Chapter 1. Isabella. "I'm stressed the fuck out, Isabella," Roman said through our personal mind link. His voice was tense, gruff, and filled with all of our worries from the past few weeks, ever since I'd become leader of the lichens. I shimmied up to our bed's headboard, stared at the twinkling moonflowers that I had decorated our windowsill with, and drew a finger up the center of my bare thigh. "Come home," I said through the link. "I know what will calm you down." After letting out a low and sensual growl, Roman told me he'd be home soon and cut off the mind link. I parted my thighs and stuck my hand between my legs, toying with what Roman used to play with every night. Something had been off with him lately. Maybe it was the constant stress and separation that my duties with the lichens caused. Riker had left me with so many broken, smashed, and crushed ties with alphas who had once trusted us warriors. People were angry. Wolves refused to ask for our help with rogues. Unsettled and outspoken wolves and packs stirred up trouble deeper into the forest. And of course, I had to be the one to try to mend the wounds, the broken trust, and the heartbreak of losing loved ones to rogues just because Riker had wanted power. After taking a deep breath of the crisp midnight air, I slipped a hand into my underwear and rubbed small circles around my clit, clenching. I needed Roman inside of me to make those worries disappear just for a few moments as he made sweet love to me, or fucked me roughly. I didn't really have a preference. All I wanted was to grip onto each ridge of his long, thick cock, to feel him pumping into me in a steady rhythm, for him to wrap his hand around my throat as he whispered into my ear with that filthy mouth of his. Tilting my head to look out the window, I found his golden eyes staring at me from the forest. I clenched and curled my toes. Goddess, he never got tired of watching me play with myself for him. He loved every second of it. Rubbing myself even faster, I spread my legs and let him eye me. He was probably hard, rubbing one out in the forest before he came up to our bedroom to destroy me, wondering how good I'd feel after a couple of weeks of holding back. The moonflowers glowed even brighter on my windowsill, twinkling under the moonlight itself and lighting up the dark room around me. I breathed them in once more, a tinge of an unfamiliar scent filling my nostrils. I tensed slightly at the scent, my wolf purring. But too many things were on my mind tonight, especially the meeting with the alphas tomorrow. This entire week, my wolf had been on edge, as we thought something was bound to go wrong at the gathering. Something always did. So I decided to ignore it, just for tonight. After closing my eyes for a moment, I sank into the sheets. The front door opened, and a wave of pleasure rushed through me. Roman was here, coming to take me for the first time in days. With every step he took up the stairs, I clenched harder. "Calm down, Isabella. He's our mate. We may not get many intimate nights together anymore, but we see him every day." But even I couldn't quite calm myself down, because seeing him was the best part of my day by far. When the bedroom door opened, I drew my knees together and smiled up at Roman. He stood at the door, brown hair ruffled in a wild, savage mess, hazel eyes with streaks of damaging gold, huge muscles flexed against his salmon-colored button-up. "Isabella," he murmured, voice lower and gruffer than it sounded in the mind link. One by one, he unbuttoned his shirt and let it hang off his shoulders. That golden gaze traveled down and back up my body, canines emerging from under his lips. "My dear Isabella." I rolled onto my stomach, crawled over to the edge of the bed, and crooked a finger in his direction. "I'm not waiting for you any longer," I said, looping my fingers in his belt loops and tugging him closer. My hand slipped into his pants. He grasped my jaw and forced me to stare up into his intense eyes. "Not yet." He stepped toward me, letting the front of his pants brush against my breasts, which were covered in his favorite lacy black bra. I'm going to enjoy you first. Grabbing my legs, he pulled me to the edge of the bed until my ass hung off it, and then trailed one finger from my chin down the center of my chest to my underwear. His lips moved from one side of my neck to the other. When he reached my mark, he nibbled on it and sucked the scars from his immense canines into his mouth. Fingers rubbing against my clit, he continued to kiss down my chest, marking it up with red little hickeys that I loved to peek at whenever I was having a bad day. He hooked his teeth inside my bra cup and gently pulled up on it. Take this off, he ordered. I unclipped my bra and let the straps fall down my arms, my breasts dropping out of it. After growling lowly, he latched his teeth around my nipple and sucked hard on it. I've been waiting all week to fuck you. He kissed down to my underwear, hooked his fingers around the waistband, and pulled them down my legs. I spit on my fingers and brushed them against my bare clit, just aching to be touched. We had both been so busy and so tired to be this intimate for a long time, but not tonight. Tonight, I needed him. After grasping my hand, he pinned it to the bed. Mine, he said, against my folds, his breath warming my core. It's mine to touch. He pressed his lips on the top of my mound and slowly worked his way down to my clit, teasing it with his tongue. When he ran a finger down my slit and pushed it into my aching pussy, I clenched around him and whimpered. I moved my hips from side to side, trying to relieve the tension building in my core, and thrust my fingers into his hair. Roman, I breathed. So tight for me, he murmured against me. He rested my legs on his shoulders and pressed his lips to my cunt, eyes closing as if this was the most pleasurable thing to him. His fingers moved faster, in and out of me. I curled my fingers around strands of his brown hair and tugged him closer to me. Oh, moon goddess, what had I done to deserve a man like this? My legs tingled when he drew his mouth and nose up my inner thigh. He stood, pushed down his pants, and took his hard cock in his hand, slapping it against my sopping pussy. As he pushed it inside of me, my pussy tightened around him. Fuck, Isabella. Wrap your arms around me. He grabbed my legs and lifted me off of the bed, thrusting into me hard. I gripped onto his back for dear life and gazed over his shoulder and out the window. Our flowers blinked and twinkled on the windowsill. That unfamiliar scent drifted through my nostrils again. Roman continued to pump into me, each thrust sending me closer and closer to him and to the brink of orgasm. My breast bounced against his chest, and he took one in his hand and sucked my nipple into his mouth, biting down lightly. I furrowed my brows, my lips parting in delight, and moaned into his ear. Wave after wave of ecstasy pumped through me. In a complete daze, my gaze drifted from the flowers to the forest. Hazel eyes stared in our direction. My entire body tensed, and I dug my nails into Roman's back. Someone was watching us. Someone I didn't recognize. Roman. I tried pulling away from him slightly to get a better view of the wolf in the woods. Nobody had hazel eyes with golden streaks in them like that. Roman thrust harder into me, and the wolf continued to stare at us. Roman, stop. Tossing me onto the bed, he flipped me around and pushed my chest against the mattress. Stop? He asked, tugging on my hair to pull me closer. The air was filled with his mint scent and the thick tension between us. I've been waiting all fucking week to be inside of your tight pussy, feel you clench around me, listen to you whimper. He smirked against his mark. I'm not stopping now. I clutched onto the bedsheets. I didn't want to stop either. Maybe I was just seeing things. Maybe I was just... After glancing back out the window, we locked eyes. Under the flickering moonflowers in the forest, I swore the wolf smirked. Fucking smirked at me like he was taunting me and taunting Roman. When he walked out into the moonlight, I tensed. He was incredibly huge, almost alpha rank big, with white fur and sparkling hazel eyes. Instead of looking away, I turned my upper body toward Roman and pushed on his chest. There's someone watching us. Roman looked out the window at the wolf and then back at me, lips curling into a smirk. Watching how an alpha fucks his mate to sleep, Roman said arrogantly. He crawled onto the bed between my legs and kissed my neck, sucking on his mark. Relax, Isabella. Don't let him ruin our night. You're okay with this? I asked breathlessly, arching my back as he kissed lower. I glanced out the window to see the unfamiliar wolf still staring at us, watching with so much intent. Roman thrust his fingers into my pussy, getting them wet with my juices. You are. He pulled his fingers out of me and drew them down the center of my body, between my breasts. You're soaked for me, baby. He stuffed his fingers into my mouth. Does being watched turn on, my dear Isabella? Clenching, I stared up into my mate's golden eyes and swallowed. Roman kissed me on the jaw, letting his lips linger. You don't have to say it. Just turn around for me and get on all fours so he can watch me finish what I have been craving all week. My heart raced in my chest, though I never expected this to be one of Roman's kinks. I turned around and knelt on the bed on all fours, arching my back and letting my breasts swing gently as Roman grasped my waist. Good girl, Roman said, grabbing a handful of my hair in one hand and my ass in the other. He thrust into me from behind, filling me completely. You're being such a good girl for me today, not a brat like usual. I tightened around him and moaned, loving his praise. My fingers curled into the bedsheets, and I took another glimpse at the wolf in the woods. Something about Roman wanting someone else to watch hadn't felt right to me at first, but he had watched me countless nights. Why had I expected him not to like something like this? This was an erotic display of dominance, and my Roman was nothing but a hard, dominant mate. Have I finally fucked that bratty mouth enough to make you obedient? Roman asked, pounding into me from behind. A low growl escaped my throat, my canines lengthening. No matter how rough you are with me, I'll never obey you. You should know that. He pushed my head against the mattress, posted one foot on the bed to fuck me even harder, and slipped an arm around my waist to smack me on my aching clit. I won't be able to break you. Is that what you think? Roman asked, slapping me there again. I yelped out, my pussy tightening around his cock. Tugging me up by the hair until my back was pressed against his taut chest, Roman growled into my ear. Let's get one thing straight, Isabella. Look out the fucking window, open that pretty little mouth of yours, and scream my name, or neither of us will come tonight. And I know that this tight, aching little pussy, he slapped my clit again, is just waiting to swallow my cum. Squeezing my eyes closed, I shook my head at him. So close. I was so close to coming all over his cock without his permission, so close to letting him really punish me in front of this man for disobeying the big, bad alpha. After snaking a hand around my neck, he slapped my clit hard. Do it. No. Now, Isabella. No, I whimpered. He slammed himself into me, hitting my cervix and making me scream. I opened my eyes to stare out the window at the wolf. Roman, I yelled, toes curling. Roman, please give it to me. Roman sank himself deep into me, stilled, and groaned into my ear. I relaxed into his arms, watching the wolf pad back into the forest and disappear into the night. After Roman pulled out of me, I turned around and collapsed onto the bed. We need to talk, Alpha.
You've reached the end of this episode. Thanks for listening. To get up to 4 weeks additional uncensored content, subscribe to the podcast at reamstories.com/AmeliaRoseAudio. Due to content restrictions, explicit sex scenes will only be available through Ream. But if you'd like to continue listening to my free episodes, make sure to hit the follow button to receive updates.